Dimorphodon is hilarious because I have to go back to pterosaurs every time. Because everybody knows Pteranodon, it's like one of the most well-known pterosaurs. When people were trying to study to find out how good pterosaurs were at flying, which the answer we now know is extremely well, they would always say, okay, let's judge Pteranodon, and because they judged Pteranodon, that's why the myth that all pterosaurs were gliders came from, because Pteranodon is a glider, although it is obviously very flight capable and can launch off from the water because it is marine. Wow. Everyone would say, okay, what's the basalmost? What's the oldest pterosaur that we have enough information for? And that for a long time was Dimetrodon. Dimetrodon? Fuck. Dimorphodon. Dimetrodon flying through the sky. And Dimorphodon is funny because not only does it have a hilariously large head, as most pterosaurs do, I'll put a bullet sun to us, but they're actually very large, and pterosaurs have existed since very early on in the Triassic. And if I remember correctly, Dimorphodon is from the late Triassic. We have basically no transitionary fossils of pterosaurs, so it was one of the oldest pterosaurs despite being fully adapted to powered flight by then. And what's hilarious is they keep using it as like the end-all be-all, like the earliest pterosaur. How did they evolve to be good at flying? It was already good at flying. In fact, it was so good at flying that Dimorphodon specifically has adapted to be better at running than it was flying, which is hilarious. It was not particularly flight capable. It lived in the forests and was more, if you saw it, like if it was actually just around, it would be on the ground like a lot of ground-eating birds, just hunting for small mammals and lizards and insects. And it would only really fly away if it was chased by something, or if it was like, oh, I want to get to this place pretty fast. Speaking of Dimetrodon, I have a lot of arguments about Dimetrodon. I'll put it in good. The theory that the bones of its sail just sort of stuck out randomly is dumb, because animals don't just have bones sticking out of them. Like everybody makes this argument, like because the tips are like bent and broken and stuff, and like, oh, it couldn't have been supported by anything. And look at this, the bases shows evidence for flesh and stuff, but the tips don't. That's because it's thin at the tips, and there's a lot more flesh and stuff at the base. And also because it is a dead carcass being crushed. That the edges are frayed and broken and such. But everybody always says that and goes off about the fossil, but nobody uses the only piece of actual evidence of animals just having bones sticking out of them, that being Archaeopteryx and the other one, which they're just processes on the spines on their vertebrae on the necks that have hardened into like a horn over it. Like it's not a spike, it's just part of their bone that has hard skin around it, which I guess if you argue that, you could make a case for it, but it would probably have just looked like one of those sail lizards. I don't remember what they're called. Hydrosaurus, I think their genus is called. The Dilophosaurus, though. Oh, a Dilophosaurus, it's baby, absolutely baby. We'll put it all the way up there. A Dilophosaurus has a hilariously tiny head. I need to go faster. Unenlogia is a troodontid. They're cute, they have long legs. Archaeopteryx is also a troodontid, where there it is. Archaeopteryx, I'll put it next to Unenlogia. Archaeopteryx is funny because everyone likes to call it the first bird, but it's basically just a troodontid. And also, despite paleo art, there were no large trees in its environment. Let me just ruin Archaeopteryx for everyone. It's another crowned animal. Like, it would climb things in its environment. Like, they're pretty large tree ferns, but they're not trees, and it's not going around gliding down from every tree it sees. It's Again, it's like a flightless bird. Megalosaurus, I have no strong opinions on Megalosaurus. It's just vibing, being forgotten. Poor Megalosauroids. Nobody cares about Megalosauroids, but they're cool. They gave rise to the Spinosaurus. Brady theme. Um, it's also Troodonted, right? I think so. I'll put it with the other Troodontids. I'll put Troodon, which, a fun fact, Troodon is an invalid taxon. It was, a lot of people don't know this. Troodon is actually named after teeth, not any bones. Um, I don't know the complete story about it, but it was originally thought to be Pachycephalosaur, and then it became a namesake for the group of these very close to birds, these little dinosaurs. I probably should have researched that before talking about it, but oh well. Troodon is probably invalid. Dakota Raptor is definitely a turtle. Epidexipteryx is ugly. Its face is ugly, but if you just imagine it being fluffy, as it would have been, it is cute. But it's ugly little underbite face. Can't get over it. Elasmotherium. It's not as cute as the woolly rhino, but it is a unicorn. I'll put it with the goods. I don't think I picked it up. Okay. Put it with the goods. Time to make sure that it's still recording because this is longer than I thought. This is the intermission. It should still be gone. Eel Raptor. It's just sort of a basal dinosaur, not very interesting. Nigerosaurus. It's got a cool mouth. I think it's probably the highest sauropod. Wait, no, Shinosaurus. I love Shinosaurus. For anyone who hasn't seen it, Shinosaurus's face was discovered recently. It is the cutest sauropod to ever exist. Just flat out, like, nobody can disagree. It is so baby looking. But it's a full size one. Oh, Utabosaurus. I don't actually know what this looks like. I'll put it with the other plesiosaurs. Dunkleosteus is a very large, I forgot what the group is called, placoderm. It's a very large placoderm. We don't actually know what it looks like, except assuming from related taxa. It was a suction feeder, like a grouper is, where it like sucks in the water into its big old head mouth. It creates a vortex and it sucks things in and it bites down on them. I just every time I see it, I just imagine like, what if it's just got a massive head and a tiny body? But I'll put it above. I'll put it above. Okay, I'll put it in. I'll put it here. Yeah. I wish there were more placoderms in this game. That'd be cool. Or just more fish in general. Coelacanth. Kind of bothers me that they just put a coelacanth because people always like to quote like coelacanths haven't changed in X number of years, which isn't true. They were an entire group of fish that was slowly persisting up into the Mesozoic and, well, forever. It's just in the fossil record they became deep sea adapted, like the nautili did, which the nautili are ammonites. If you ever want to see an ammonite, they still exist. But the lobe fin fishes were very common very early on, I think up until the Devonian, to which they started to decline and have been declining ever since, I believe. I believe there's 2 species of coelacanth left, but I don't remember. But I love them. They have little spots. Spinosaurus. I don't really care for Spinosaurus. No, put it above me. Don't got anything against, science and stuff. Spinosaurus just looks weird. Like, it's neat. People don't like to realize that it lived in a marine environment. They normally draw it in like a swamp, but Africa at the time there was an ocean in the middle of it, in the same way that there was an ocean in the Mid-American Seaway where like Pteranodon and stuff was. I like ornithomimids. I'll put it here. Ornithomimids are good. Thursdaysaurus is such a weird creature, but it's also kind of ugly, I'll put it in excellent. Yeah. Top tier is starting to get pretty bad. Dipletosaurus. I'll put it below. I'll put it above Dimetrodon. Dipletosaurus is just kind of a large Tyrannosaur. Alioramus, however, I like the small Tyrannosaur. But Alioramus. I like the little Tyrannosaurs are cute and fast. Cryolophosaurus is interesting. I'll put it here. I liked it better when it was like really light, but now we know it's actually pretty bulky. Samotyranus, I actually don't know what this looks like, so I'll put it here. I assume it's a Tyrannosaurid, given its name, but I actually don't know. Electrosaurus. I don't know what this is. I assume it's a Megalosaurid, so I'm going to put it here, but above Neo, because I like Electro better than Neo of the designs. Guanlon is a very little Tyrannosaurid. I'll put it. Below the sleep. This thing, I don't remember what it's called, but it is a basal ceratopsid. I don't know if it actually counts, which it's neat because ceratopsians are actually very recently large animals. Marginocephalans, which are the Pachycephalosaurus and Ceratopsians, diverged very recently in their evolutionary history, and that's why the Ceratopsians, their hands and arms are so weird because they were obligate bipeds for so long. They started to just get giant head ornamentations and just had their faces to the ground all the time to eat food, that they just started using their little hands as struts to hold them up while they graze and stuff. But then they were just like, oh no, might as well just keep growing this way and not stand up on two legs anymore. They just have really weird arms, because before then their arms did basically nothing but hang there. Allosaurus is really cool. Allosaurus is great. Above one. Allosaurus is really cool. It is one of the best well-known theropods. It hunted so many different things. It was so successful, so numerous, and also it looks cool. I like how it's got big arms. That was a strange statement. A thing that I want to remind people is that theropods, especially the Allosaurid, they do use their arms to hunt things. Their mouths are not very strong. They're sort of like lizards, where if they bite something, they're just gonna like graze it. I should say, not all lizards. Tigers are scary, and bearded lizards. But like the varanids, they're like varanids, where their bite isn't very strong, but they have very sharp teeth. So their arms, they're going to use them to help kill stuff, because they have opposable thumbs, which is really cool. Although it's not directly opposable, it's mostly opposable. Afrovenator. This is Afrovenator, right? I think so. Again, I don't really care about Megalosaurus. Sinraptor. I mean, it is not pronounced Sinraptor, it's pronounced Signraptor because Sino is China. It's a Megaraptoran, I believe the group is called. I don't know. I like a lot of the theropods close to birds and bellysaurs. I like bellysaurs. They have tiny, stupid arms. Acrocanthosaurus is. I like this along with these. I will put it above them actually because I saw its footprints in real life. It was really cool. It was somewhere in Texas, and they were hunting sauropods, and it's so cool because it's in a river and they're all sadly just dissolving away from the water movement, but you can see all their little footprints. And the sauropods, there's just like, I can't tell how many, but there's some sauropods and some smaller Acrocanthosaurus just gone around. And then just out of nowhere, there's this Acrocanthosaurus that's like twice as big as all the other ones, which does not support group hunting, does not support wolf-like hunting. It's just mobbing behavior like crocodiles and a lot of birds do, where they're not emotionally connected to each other. It's just they start hunting something, they all hear and smell and see it. They all just go over there and do it too. They're not coordinated at all. Sorry to ruin Dinosaur.